Okay, thank you. So hi, everybody. Thank you, Exabytes, and also the organizing team for this event, and for everybody for making it here today. I hope everyone is doing fine at home or wherever you are. My name is Cherry, and with Google's search relations team, I'm based in Singapore, and part of my job is to work with developers, marketers, and business owners like you to grow your business online presence through Google search. So today I'm here to talk about Google Organic Search and how you can manage your website's presence there. Google search started a long time ago, as you probably know. And since then, user behavior, devices, and technology have changed. However, search is still a place people go to find useful, relevant, and actionable information. Search remains one of the best ways for your users or customers to discover your business or content online. And that brings us to trillions of searches each year. Therefore, we will talk about Google search and some basic things you can do to have a better presence on Google search. Be reminded that we are here today for Organic Search Talk. This is actually separated from Google Ads entirely, and we do not accept any payment from you to list your websites here on Google Organic Search. I was told that today our audience are business owners, but that can be quite wide profile of audience. Some of you are entirely new to online business. Some are new to search engine optimization or SEOs, and some might be more seasoned. Our session will be starting from basic today and mostly focus on the basic things. But if you have any follow-up questions, I will introduce some channels for you to get connect with us later on. In this session, we will go through how search works quickly, then 3 basic things that you can do as a business owner or digital marketers, and we will do a little bit of myth busting at the end. So let's jump right in. How does search work? There are 3 steps in search: crawling, indexing, and ranking. In crawling, we send out what we call Googlebot to look for websites that are out there. We don't know how many there are, but we know over 130 trillion pages. With such a big volume, Googlebot is very busy and we have to do scheduling. What this means for you is that we're not going to crawl your website all the time. But of course, you can help us to prioritize your content by using a tool which we will introduce later as well. After discovering all the pages, we put them all in one single index. The index is huge, but not limitless, which means we are quite selective on what goes into our index and what doesn't. What it means for you is that your web pages have to be value adding to users, or if they are duplicated, they might not make it to the index. In this step, we also try to understand what the page is about and get other information such as how old is the page, what are the links going and out from that page. We also do rendering. So we try to understand the whole context of the page and the meaning of the whole page instead of just words or keywords on those pages. And the last step is ranking. So in the last step, after we crawl and find all the pages, put them in one indexing, we actually do ranking. And this is a part that is more apparent to you, but it's the most complex as we use hundreds of signals to rank your page, so that we can tailor the search results to your intent as much as possible. For example, when you type queries with the word change, it can be many things such as adjust, exchange, modify, or replace. Or if you are searching on mobile phone or laptop, you might be looking for different things. We have to understand these differences and these contexts so that we can serve you with the best search results possible. Also in 2017, for example, we know that 15% of searches per day are new, meaning we haven't seen those queries before in the past. Therefore, ranking can only happen real time when you're searching for things only. We don't do ranking beforehand. And that's what happened in the split second when you type your queries into Google search. Start with crawling, finding all the pages, put them in one index, and then we rank them and serve them to you. Before we move on, I just want to give you a few pointers for what all these actually mean to you. First, if you are making changes on your websites, or if you have a new website, it could take time for us to notice the websites, depending on how frequent we crawl your pages. but you can use a tool called Search Console to help us prioritize this, and we will cover the tool later on in this presentation. Second thing is we understand more than just keywords or words on your websites. Like I said, we do rendering on pages as well. So you just have to focus on making great content for your users and try to make your site crawlable and easy to understand as much as possible. Moving on to 3 things that you can do for your websites. First, make sure that your pages are searchable and that they look great on Google search result page. The question that I get asked most often is, why is my site not on Google? So if you are wondering about the same question, what you can do as a first step is to search for your site using site : followed by your domain. You can see on the screen there. So on the screen, let's say you own gmail.com, you would do site : followed by gmail.com. What you are essentially doing here is to search for things under that domain only. So if Google knows your pages, you will see your pages listed here. This means that your pages are in our index, and you probably don't have a problem with crawling or indexing, but you might want to focus on ranking or how you show up on Google search instead. What do we mean by that? Take a look at this example. Are you able to tell what this website is about? What service or product is it offering? It's pretty impossible, right? Because the lines are quite generic and it doesn't tell you what they're selling. So if this kind of page appear on search result, it's very unlikely that someone will click on your site because they don't know like what's there and it's not relevant to what they're looking for. These lines are what we call title and description or snippet. And they're extremely important because they tell your potential users what your web pages have to offer. Users mostly only use these lines to decide whether to click on and visit your pages or not. You can help us and help users by providing these lines. Make sure it's clear, concise, unique, and descriptive. How do you tell us what is your preference for these lines? You can provide them through meta tag title and description. We won't always use them, but it always helps us to understand the page better. Basically, this is the HTML code of a page, and we are adding these lines to give additional information to browser. It won't show up on your website. It doesn't change how your website looks. If you don't work with codes and you already work with a developer, ask them to change these for you. Tell them that you want to change meta tag title and description. You can help provide developers with the content though, because you know your business best. Generally, developers might focus too much on technical part. So you can supply them with these lines and ask them to implement it. If you are on CMS, content management system, be it anything from like WordPress, Drupal, or like any other service provider, or if you're with Exabytes or any blog, usually you can change these directly on the user interface without touching the code. Search for the instruction online or contact the CMS support if you have any questions. Another part of your appearance in search result page has to do with structured data. Earlier, we said that there are 3 things: crawling, indexing, and ranking. Another thing that we do is also to show useful responses while doing ranking. When search started, the world was very different. Stationary desktop, limited number of searches, search results appear in plain 3 or 4 lines. Actually, if you want to go back in time, try to Google the word Google in 1998, then you'll be taken back to the search results page when we just started. It looks something like that. And now, you're probably familiar, Google search has evolved so much with users' behavior and new devices. You probably have seen many search results that are beyond just those 3 lines and the blue links. These are powered by structured data. Structured data is a set of predefined tags that you use, that you apply to your web pages to classify the page content. Google uses structured data that it finds on the web to understand the content of the page and might use that information to show on search result page. For example, when you type in a recipe queries, like if you're looking for something to cook, right? We used to see a list of blue links results that don't necessarily tell us which ones are recipes, which ones are not, as you can allow search results to appear in a special feature on rich results. There are many different types of rich results now, and I'm sure some of them should fit well with your businesses. You can explore available types of structured data at Google/Search Gallery. The links is there on the slides. From there, you will be able to learn how to implement it. You basically have to highlight parts of your website code that has relevant information. So this task will generally be done by a developer or someone who manages the websites. Or if you don't have to be technical to do this. So the tool is free and available online. You just have to fill in your URL, then you will see a green check if all your markups are valid. If not, it will also give you details about why is it not working and all the errors that come with it. So how is everyone doing? I hope you haven't fallen asleep yet. Before we move on to the next section, here are some pointers. First, titles and descriptions are important. The 3 lines there on the search result page, search result is very important because it brings in users, and you can let us know your preference through implementing meta tag title and description. Second, explore goo.gle/search gallery. Use structured data to be eligible for rich results. Moving on to second thing, which is to focus on users. Think of who are your audiences and what should they do on your websites. Learn about personas, write in their languages, and think about goals and conversions. What are the conversions you want on your website? If you're selling stuff, that could be purchase. If you want people to subscribe to newsletter, that might be the subscribe newsletter button. So your conversion can be anything. Basically, it's the goals that you set on your website. That has to be clear, and you have to understand how audience would get there to convert. And you have to make sure that the path that audience will get there to convert is easy for them. Secondly, give your users a safe and secure experience. Consider adopting HTTPS if your site is not on HTTPS yet. HTTPS is also one of the ranking factors as well. Always use security practices to prevent your site from being hacked. When your site is hacked, it affects users, it affects your brand, and also organic search as well. Lastly, make your website easily accessible on all devices and make it load fast. Good user experience does not only keep users engaged on your websites, but speed and mobile friendliness are also one of the ranking factors for Google search results. How do you know if your site is loading fast and that it's loading well on all devices? There are 2 free tools that you can use easily, Page Speed Insights and Lighthouse. Just to give an example, this is Page Speed Insights. It's easy to use. You can search for Page Speed Insights. Then you will see something like this. Input URL of your website there and click Analyze. You will get a score. The tool will also suggest improvement opportunity and other suggestions which are specific to your website if your website is not doing well yet. And this is not like a test. If you're at like say 99 score already or 95, 80 or whatever, that's okay. Like you don't have to always aim for 100. It's okay to be like slightly lower than that. But of course, if you have all the time and resources, then by all means try to improve it as much as possible. So we said that page speed and mobile friendliness are one of the ranking factors for search, and users love sites that are fast and easy to use. Last year, the Chrome team announced Core Web Vitals to help sites owner measure user experience on the web. In short, instead of looking at page speed from just one metric or one angle, we expand it to loading time, interactivity, and visual stability. So from search, we're combining the signals from that Core Web Vitals and our existing search signals, such as mobile friendliness and HTTPS. We will do a gradual rollout, which we will begin using page experience as part of our ranking system, beginning in mid-June 2021, so this year, mid-June. However, page experience won't play its full role as part of the system yet until the end of August. So it's going to be a gradual rollout from mid-June until August. We talked about ranking just now, and I said that we have hundreds of signals to rank your pages. This will become one of those signals. Page experience will be one of them. So PageSpeed Insights tool, which I talked about earlier, is a good place to start testing your website to see if it's performing well or not, and if there's anything you can do to improve your website in that regard. To provide you with more actionable insights, we are also introducing the Page Experience Report in Search Console, and you can use this to check how you're doing in terms of page experience as well. We will cover Search Console later on. The last basic task is to communicate and utilize data from us more. Google Search Console, as I think I talked about it about 5 times already, is a tool that gives you all the data related to how you are doing on Google Organic Search. This is an example of how it looks like. It tells you how many clicks are there from Google Search to your site, how many times you show up, and how are you ranking. It also tells you things like what are the top queries that bring people to your website, what pages are popular, what countries and devices are users searching from. Apart from all the data I have mentioned, you can check things like site speed or mobile friendliness as well. You can confirm that Google can find and crawl your site. We talked about crawling, indexing earlier. If we find any problem with your index or crawling, then we will tell you about that here. You can also at the same time tell us what pages should be prioritized, what pages have you updated, so we can prioritize those things for our crawling. We talked about structured data as well, rich results, basically all the fancy things that's beyond the 3 lines or the blue links that you see. You can also see the data related to that on Search Console as well. It will tell you what type of rich results have you been showing up on and how many people clicks on those things. You can also troubleshoot issues for mobile usability and any other search features issue there and get suggestion and improvement. And also receive alerts from us if we find any indexing or spam or any other issues or security issues on your site. So what are you waiting for? Head over to ge.co/search console to start using it. Make it a habit to check the performance and use the data regularly as part of your marketing strategy. Apart from Search Console, you can also try out Google Trends. Google Search Console gives you data related to your website only and on organic search only. Google Trends, on the other hand, gives you data about what is popular in Malaysia or other countries. What are the things people search for? You can also do a comparison between each search queries on Google Trends. For example, you can see here that demand for food delivery has been really high during lockdown and COVID. If you are in food and beverage business, you could make use of this example. So we're done with our basic tips. First is to make sure you are searchable using site, colon, and domain to check if you're already listed there on Google. Then make sure you appear well there by using meta tag title and structured data. Second, focus on users, create content for users, provide safe and secure website, and make it easily accessible and useful and fast. Lastly, use Search Console to get valuable insights. Make sure to act on it. I see a question now on Google Search Console, difference with Google Analytics. I think I can just answer that now. So I introduced Google Search Console, Google Trends, and there's a question on Google Analytics. Google Search Console gives you data for your website only and only related to Google Organic Search, meaning it tells you how many times people click on your stuff on your website from Organic Search. Meaning if you're running ads or if you're doing any other campaigns outside Google, they're not going to be included in Search Console, right? Google Trends, on the other hand, tells you things in general, not limited to your website. It tells you things about like what are famous now, what are things people search for. If you're curious, what are in trends now, then you look for Google Trends. On the other hand, Google Analytics is specific to your website. So it only gives you data related to your website only, but not limited to Google search. It gives you data from if, say, you have Google Ads running, if you have Facebook campaign running, if you have even referral from another websites. Google Analytics can give you those data that is beyond just Google search. If you have both Google Analytics and Google search, you will have a full funnel of what's happening on your site. Google Search Console tells you how people arrive to your website on Google Search Organic. And then when people come to your website already, Google Analytics then tell you what happened on your site. It tells you how much time people spend on your website, what do people do, what pages are popular. And it tells you how people get out, whether they buy it, purchase anything on your site or not. I hope that's clear. Okay, then I'm gonna move on to the next thing. Very last thing that we will do today is myth busting. So there's a lot of things that people always believe, and there's some stuff that I think I can clarify. So first myth. A lot of people are shopping and getting information on social network nowadays, and also on e-marketplace, be it, Shopee, Lazada, Amazon, anything else. So a brand.com website is not relevant anymore. Basically, a lot of people are thinking that it's not really useful to have like your own website anymore. Is this true or false? So you can type your opinion in the chat as well if you want to. And that will be a way for me to know that you're still there. Okay. That's great. So yes, I'm happy to see that a lot of false there. So in fact, brand.com or website is really good for building a brand, and it gives confidence to your potential customers. Sometimes when you see some products, we actually, even if you find it on e-marketplace or social network, right? Especially if like items that takes more purchasing decision, a lot of the time people tend to search for the brand itself to find out more information. Having your own website makes your brand more credential. Having a website also gives you freedom to express brand identity. For example, on social media, sometimes you're limited by platform and can't really decorate your shop freely. If you are building your own websites, you are not limited by that. And you will have full control on your brand identity, features, and also user experience. Actually, in my opinion, it's never really a competition between each channel and each type of media that you're using. You don't have to choose one. Each channel, be it social media, website, marketplace, or even traditional offline media, has its own use and pros and cons. For example, social media is really good for interacting with potential customers, right? Offline traditional media is good for awareness or some types of reach, but might not be as easy to measure attributions as much as like online media. Good thing, I think the good thing is that you can use many types of presence at the same time. You don't really have to choose one, but as long as your marketing strategy is clear and messages and brand image are consistent across all online and offline channels, then you should be fine. Yes, and it really depends on the target group and the branding position, the resources that you have as well. Right. Next one. I have content on brand.com, social, and many other things. And that is that considered duplicated content? Is it like me competing with my own like site? Because just now we said that in indexing, we actually are selective in what goes into our index, right? And if you have site or if you have like content that's not value adding to users, sometimes it might not make it to our index. So no, it's a free market, right? More choice actually give you more benefits. For example, if you are e-commerce site, if users prefer to shop on Amazon.com, then your brand should not miss out on that opportunity. You should still list your product there. If you have your own website, it doesn't mean that it will compete with that. It doesn't mean that we will take that off the index, right? We understand the concept of having presence in many landscapes as well. So we won't consider those things as duplicated as long as there's some kind of value adding things there. Even if you have your own website, it doesn't mean that you should not list your product on these marketplaces anymore. At the same time, if you're on marketplaces like Amazon, Shopee, Lazada, or others, user might search to cross-check product features or brand credibility. So it will still be good to have websites to help address those things. Next one. SEO is about building websites, and business owners cannot do much with SEO. Mostly, you should leave it to developers or web developers. Are some of the things I already covered in this presentation. For example, firstly, as a business owner, you should see the importance of online presence. It's the same as if you have a shop. You make sure that the shop looks great and that people can discover your shop. You do the same with online presence. You can invest more resources, meaning more time, more fund, and possibly more support to web developers or SEO, so they can help you build your online presence the way that is consistent with every part of your business. Secondly, as covered in this presentation, there are tools that you can use, such as Search Console, Google Trends. Someone also bring up Google Analytics. You don't have to be technical to access these tools. What is more important is to understand the data, get insights, and more importantly, make business decisions based on these data and insights. Don't just let data sit there, understand it, act based on it. Okay? Thirdly, you can be more involved in certain aspect of SEO. For example, we talked about the snippets on Google, right? The 3 lines that I said is really important because it brings in users on Google search. The 3 lines that people see when your website show up on Google search, basically. Even if developer will be implementing that, you can work more closely with SEO or developers to come up with those lines because you probably know the business and marketing strategy better than any other people anyway. Right? So in general, there are a lot of things you can do even if you're not technical. You just have to invest more resources and commit to working more closely with someone who manages online part of your business. I think we're running out of time, so we will stop the myth here today. And if you have any questions, search for Search Central Help Community and ask your questions there. We just did a rebrand, so if you knew us under the name Google Webmasters, then that's the same channel as same forum. There are a lot of good questions that have been asked already as well, so you could also search through existing questions and get your answers quickly. If you want to join events that we organize, you can search for Webmaster Conference, click on Get Updates, and leave your contact with us so we could update you when we run these events online or offline again when social distancing is not a thing. You can learn variety of content on Google Search Central YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter at Google Search C to get updates as well. And I'm done for today. I hope the session has been useful. I think we don't have time for live questions, right, Laurie?
I think we have time for just one. We'll squeeze this one in. So let's go. Okay, so this one's from Liang Hui. Liang Hui's question is, I'm currently having a website developer to work on my website. They'll be doing our SEO as well. What is the most important thing I need to take note so that my developer does a good job on the SEO?
So I think there are a lot of things and a lot of checklists that you can go through. And I think it's really great that you consider, like auditing or doing things right before engaging the developers. If you search for hiring and SEO on our YouTube channel, that's actually a video that talks about that explicitly. So like it tells you like, oh, first you have to check you have to work with them to see what are the goals of doing SEO. Secondly, things like you can offer some kind of simple audit before you engage with them, or they can kind of like give you a prioritized list of like these are the plan that they're going to be doing. Basically, if you work closely with them, that's a good thing. And it's great that you start thinking about it. The full list, though, that you should see would be search for hiring and SEO on our Search Central documentation or on YouTube. There are like a full list of things that you should audit there. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for answering that. Now we do have 2 more questions, but we unfortunately do not have time to go through that. So Cherry, if you please answer that offline once this ends, that would be wonderful. But for now, I'd like to thank you for a clear, concise, and intuitive presentation on Google Search. I think all your tips and tricks has really, just enriched all our lives here today. So on behalf of Exabytes, thank you so much for that. You guys let's give her a virtual round of applause in the chat. Thank you so much, Cherry.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I will answer the questions on the chat after this. Yeah.
All right. It's always nice to see you. So do take care until I see you again. Bye. Have a great day.
Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Exabytes. grow your business online.